The following Conscious Consumer Network recording of a live broadcast is available to purchase in high definition at ethymarket.com. Support free and independent media by becoming a CCN pledger. For €10 a month, you can have unlimited access to CCN high definition downloads at ethymarket.com. Ethymarket, the ethical marketplace for conscious consumers.
Watching that construct, that idiot box, just chuck it out. You don't need it anymore. That's just a control construct to get you all worked up, tap into your energies, because the energy vampires are on the hunt, and it's getting ugly out there. I don't really give a shit what they do, because it has nothing to do with me technically, because I'm on the other side of the fence. Anyways, I got Brother Bradley back. It's always a fast ride with Brother Bradley, and we're gonna cover a bunch of topics today that most are unaware of. If you haven't been to Bradley's site, he's got some great posts, and it's at bradleyloves.wordpress.com. So I set it on the front so they can click on that and open up and see what you're talking about, brother. Also, we got some reposts with Brother Peter and Curtis, and pulling this curtain back, literally flambeing this control construct that's been binding up my brothers and sisters on this planet, because nobody should have to pay for the right to freaking breed. What do you think about that, Bradley?
I think you're exactly right. And more than that, the way you started was kind of interesting, because you said we're pulling back the curtain, and everything goes back to the Wizard of Oz. You know, you got to be as smart as a dog. You got to be as smart as Toto. Go over to the curtain, pull it aside, and say everything you're seeing above the altar is a magician's trick. It's smoke and mirrors. There's nothing going on there. Okay, look at the man behind the curtain. And what are we seeing in the world today? We're seeing wars. We're seeing rumors of wars. We're seeing destruction in these countries, and we're seeing financial ploys all over. All of this is smoke and mirrors. Okay, that's what it boils down to. What it boils down to is there is a group, a fanatical group of people who are ostensibly in control of the planet. They've been here for a long, long time. Call them what you will. Call them the Illuminati, call them the Cabal, call them the Satan-worshipping Cabal, whatever.
I have special words for them. How about the Scumbags Are Us Club?
Scumbags Are Us Club. And they're calling the shot. Okay, and what you see on the news is the spoon-fed version of exactly what they want you to know and when they want you to know it. A lot of this stuff that's happening right now, even though it looks very real, is coordinated. It's choreographed.
It's called a staged event. Can you say agent provocateur? Look that up, folks.
Yes, agent provocateurs, and you got them running around in different countries, and you've got not only agent provocateurs in the military, but you've got agent provocateurs in the banking system. You've got them in the municipal systems, in the court systems. These are all members, if you will, of that large group that Jay Parker was talking about. And there was an article I wrote, it was called Mind Control at its Finest, that was talking about the two little kids who actually came forward in the UK and basically said, hey, my daddy is a Satan worshiper, and the school we go to, they come and they do all kinds of things to us sexually. They're affiliated with the church. Well, what ended up happening with that is they had a trial, quote, a trial, over in London, and apparently claimed the kids had made it all up. But my feeling is that the kids were just basically bullied by the cops, and these are like 8 and 9-year-olds, into recanting what they had said because they were scared. And that's the one video that I put on that very article called Mind Control at its Finest. The other video is one by Jay Parker, where he says, hey, look, folks, I was born into a generational Satan-worshiping family. We're affiliated with the Illuminati. We're affiliated with the Freemasons at the very top. We're affiliated with the reptilians. We're affiliated with all these groups, okay? There's 10% of the planet is generational. It goes back 5,000 to 6,000 years. He goes maybe even farther, maybe 10,000 years. And this is the group, call them who you will, scumbags are us. This is the group that wants to do all of this stuff, okay? And what we're seeing on the news, your television, is that's their drama. That's their what's the word I'm looking for here? Their
the diversion for the mind so they can suck into your energies and get you all excited. You know, just like the shootings and stuff like that. Look what's up. But let's take a look. Man, we got some ground to cover today. Let's take a look what's happening with not Facebook, but Yahoo. Yeah, folks, it's time to get off of Yahoo. That's a control construct by the game. Matter of fact, I sent out that Open Office new link that's not in the control construct to the best of my knowledge. Even our Skype here, starting August 1st, for those who aren't paying attention, basically what they're saying to you is, if you don't like it in our house and you don't abide by our rules, tough shit, we're giving your shit. We're going to give all your information away anyways. Folks, they've been doing this for years anyways, but now it's in your face. It's they're turning it up a notch. It's the game has just changed, brother. These are game changers for see, they got to put us in a corner to make us find another way out. You know what I'm saying? So the harder they push for this negative protocols, the faster we move to a different side of the fence, to not be a party to this control construct. But between Yahoo, Skype, all these control constructs, and let me share it with you, Brad, just so for people who don't get it. Yeah, like when I send out emails for people to get on this show, I send out the Zoom launch. Well, when I try and send it out in an email, every time, it's been going on for months since I was the Ty Bollinger show. I try sending him the link, and what they do is they mailer demon, and then they put up underneath this, this is objectionable material. Sending an alternate attachment through the email is considered
objectionable. Yeah,
objectionable material. Really? I mean, how does that work? Anyways, but this crap. Anyway, so for those who don't, they whack and hack. Hell, our website's been hacked. We must be doing something right, because they beat my 3 free tours off the front page. But that's all right. Michael's hard at it. He got skills. He'll get it back up and on. Matter of fact, so we're in creation mode. But the whole point being, folks, it's in your face. I mean, when do we wake up? When do we say when? When do we say no more shit, bullshit? Yeah. I'm not playing no more.
Hey, do you think they're watching you?
Yeah. No, ask me if I care.
Yeah. So no, but that's basically what's going on. Well, here's a good analogy for you. Okay, you're playing game basketball. Everybody knows the rules, right? But okay, they're not winning, but they want to win. So after the first quarter, they're down. They change the rules. Okay, now you can't dribble the ball. You got to carry it for 5 feet, then dribble it, then carry it for 5 feet again. And only our team actually has experience with that because we practiced. Now all of you guys, okay, but then the game goes on to the second quarter. They're still not. They add new rules, and they add new rules, and they add more new rules. So here's what's going on. They're passing laws right now in Washington that are changing the rules constantly, okay? Yeah. Because I don't know, what do you call them? Petulant little 2-year-olds? Yeah. Who are whiny baggers, and if they don't see things going their way, they're going to change the rules, okay, and make it more difficult for people who are already getting free, learning how to like fight their way out of this, and they go, oh no, we're going to change the rules on you because it's not good enough. So that's kind of like what they're up to now. Apparently, just as a matter of course, and recently, people who are alternative media now are under the gun or under fire, according to what you were telling me.
Yep.
Okay, well, so we're looking at that now.
Yeah, well, they poke, like I'll post out links from Natural News, Good Informations or Rents.com or whatever, and they always come behind me and try and smash the links, but I know how to play ball. So they got to get up pretty early. Anyways, but they've been doing this for a long time. Matter of fact, for those who are in disbelief, like last year, last summer, my Wi-Fi got knocked out the box. I had to go buy a damn chip for my computer just to get back online because they came into my internals. And gee, Bradley, I think you're having a couple of those nuances too, aren't you? Mm.
Yeah. I was so upset with my iPad because it was so hacked, and every time I wrote an article, the iPad would just run on and do all kinds of things. I managed to get a very cheap laptop, and I tried to protect it as good as I could. I hadn't had it a week before the same stuff is hacked again. And but over the course of, I think, the last 2 years, I've actually I've lost 3 iPads and I've lost 3 laptops, because there's a point in time when they get so hacked and so toxic that they don't operate anymore.
Right.
And this is what they do. I mean, if you're out there and you're actually trying to tell the truth and get articles out, and you're doing it the right way, in a way they don't like, then they come and pay attention to you. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of bloggers out there who haven't lost a computer, and they have to ask themselves, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't they paying attention to me? Well, maybe you're just not saying the truth the way the truth needs to be said.
Yeah. Well, it's ironic because you got a lot of these splinter groups out there doing their thing, diverting our brothers and sisters, with the remedy bullshit and doing the UCC stuff and all these other protocols. And the ones that are doing a good job of misleading, they just leave them alone. I don't want to mention any names, but I could, but I won't.
No, don't do that.
No, but see, as long as we're diverting, it's sort of like the lose a name game. They're not going to mess with those people over there because they're considered ignorant and they're staying on the same course that's going to lead them to quiet desperation. Because if you don't pick up your abandoned property, it's abandoned. If you're either you're in or you're out, you can't just say, I mean, I understand intent, I understand where they're coming from, but to lay back in a neutral position and not pull your punch card, I call it, getting off the plantation, authenticating your birthright. Yeah, if you don't do that one thing, you got that means your stuff's been left abandoned, and they can do what they want in short order, and they do. They'll probate the estate. They'll make short work of you. All this whole system is just one big hypothecation event. Folks, I covered that on my 8-week construct over at Privatis.Me. It's free. You can't get the hell out until you know how you got here in the first place. That's why I created this in a easy to follow protocols. Start off with Changes on the Horizon, Part 2. That's a 200-year history lesson that should be mandatory watching for everybody on the planet.
Yeah, Peter, I posted the show you did with Kurt Kallenbach. Okay?
Yep.
And I just wanted to let everybody know I listened to that twice, and I'm going to listen to it probably twice more. There is so much information that is in that. What was it, like an hour and 50 minutes?
Yep.
And it's mind blowing what was done and how they conceived that it would work. That they could legitimately take your body, your mind, and your soul, and then monetize it, and then actually take it as their own property, and the way they did it. And Kurt goes through this step by step, and it like I said, I can only say it's mind blowing. I've got it up on my page. I reposted it. I'm just hoping people are going to watch, because and it's. If you say, well, what can I do about it? What good does it do to me to know this stuff? That's the first step. You got to know what happened in order, if you're ever going to try and fix something. And maybe the answers aren't there yet. And in fact, I don't recommend necessarily taking action, but just do listen to the video, because more information will be coming.
Yep. Well, unconsenting is a real good idea, and not going to war, being a belligerent, but that's the way they're going to treat these newscasters, as belligerents. Unbelievable. But it's not. I mean, I've seen it coming. I've seen what they do to the people who actually expose the crap, and because they're doing it and outing them in the public, that's why they whack them, you know. Anyways, unbelievable, folks. Welcome to Prison Planet. And, you know, if my brothers and sisters don't wake up soon, Brad, it's going to get ugly. Well, I'm taking a different set of tracks. It's up to everybody has free will, but even the free will has been compromised, like you and I talked about. You got fluoride, GMOs, the chemtrails, shots. I mean, all these poisons change up the structure of how the body works, how the mind works. So yeah, I guess they screwed them out of free will too. And here's us, and we're not under those constructs to bind us up. We're clear-headed, we're conscious, we're awake. But for the ones who are dead asleep, my goodness, it's
Peter, there's a caveat to that, though. You're right. I agree. And on a higher level, technically they did. But here's the excuse that the Illuminati and all of these people come up with. Look, technically you do have free will, okay? Because we're putting out the signs, we're putting out the symbols, okay? When people, a lot of this stuff is actually being exposed by the Illuminati, because one of the rules says they have to kind of tell you what they're doing. There are people that say Alex Jones is COINTELPRO, okay? So that he works kind of for that side. And he puts out a lot of good information, okay? I'm not saying he is, I'm saying I've heard he is, okay? So what does that mean, though? If he's putting out all of this information, he's telling you what they're going to do. Now, when people hear of all of this Prison Planet stuff, what do? They watch it, they're disgusted, then they turn away and they say, wow, that's really disgusting. But have you got up and did you say, well, I don't consent to that? Did you vote immediately when you heard this is what's going on? Because it's my belief that every word you say and every thought you think is heard on some level, okay? So there is a spiritual side. There really is a supernatural and spiritual side to hearing about what's going on, and then at least saying each and every time, like the United States, they announce on the television, well, we're going to go to war with Syria. Why do you think they would even tell us that if they're going to do that? Let's just use that as an example. They're asking for people's permission.
right.
Now, if you don't say anything, if you don't watch the TV and say, I don't consent to that, not on my watch, no, I don't want that, then because you said nothing, they have the presumption to say, well, you must have wanted it then. You must have consented, okay? And if you go and change the channel to a war movie right afterward, you know, and see people bombing the crap out of everybody inside a television movie, well, what does that tell them? Well, see, this guy likes war. He likes to see bombs dropping and shit like that. So I guess this person on a supernatural level really goes along with it. So he's in our camp. I wrote articles at the beginning of this year, at the end of last year, that said every thought, every word, and every deed counts. That's what you know what that is? That's called taking responsibility for your own life. And you don't just take responsibility for your actions, Peter. You take responsibility for your thoughts. You take responsibility for your words and what you say. And people say, whoa, I'd have to be perfect. I'd have to be a monk. Who could do that? Well, guess what? Welcome to what you're living in. Because every human being is a creator. We're all creators, and each one of us are collectively adding to this constant flow of energy that literally creates our reality. Okay? So what is it that these people want? The brothers and sisters that aren't awake yet, what do they want? Oh, they want a vacation every year. They want a Rolls Royce. They want a Mercedes Benz. They want a $5 million house and a vacation. Okay. When people get that, okay, in order to get that, what has to happen? You got to have a lot of slaves working their butt off for very low wages so that a few people can have very nice things. Okay? So if you're going after the so-called dream, the American construct of the dream, then you must be consenting to the idea that a lot of other people will have much less. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, it's ironic because all the bankers got their yachts down over on the east coast of southern Florida. I did a Google shot, and you just saw row after row after row of yachts. Hey, folks, that was paid for with your birthright, and it's still being paid for with your birthright. That's why. But see, they knew the tricks to the game. See, they knew there was a private side to this equation. This is why the whores that be like Monsanto and all these big corporations don't pay taxes, because they're operating in a private construct. They knew how to set their stuff up, and they don't teach that to the common man because we have to have slaves.
Well, of course, but see, here again, go back to what I keep going back to this guy because I think he's brilliant, Jay Parker, and he told the truth. He said 10 to 15%. And a guy said, well, I can't believe that 10% of the world's population are Satan worshipers, or part of the Illuminati. And he said, look, from my point of view, and I was raised in that family and in that whole thing, I think that's a low number. Yep. There's a lot of people out there that work in the banks and the corporations. And like you said, Monsanto, they're all part of this. They want the New World Order. They want slaves, and slave wages and slave labor. They've all been told the story, the story that most of the commoners don't know. They've been told that story. They were raised under that story. Okay. Yeah. And they're going for that. They want it 100%. So it's only the people who are still watching television and still sleeping and still looking for the American dream that are kind of like out of the loop. And that's your job. That's my job. That's what we're here to do. We're bringing them into the loop. Oh, guess what? There's something going on that you need to know about.
Yep. Anyways, I was just looking for something. Anyways, well, like I say, it's that's all shape-shifting stuff. Like I say, the control construct that was created through the idiot box, the radio stations, all this stuff. I listen to, it's called Bringers of the Dawn. They cover all these little things. The things I've been saying for years, they're saying the same thing. Shut your idiot box off, throw it out. You don't need it. And ground yourself and start eating right, mind, body, spirit, everything. You can change the paradigm, but it starts from within. So, by eating correctly, doing a little bit of exercise through the course of the day, that's part of changing up your consciousness as well, because it does free the body. When you're cleaning the lymph nodes, like we talked about this, anyways.
Right. No, and Peter, you're exactly right. And what a lot of people don't get, and even the spiritual people, because they don't have the scientific side. They're not really into the science. But when you take consciousness, you can literally line that up with a scientific side of things, and it's just called vibration. It's called frequency. You are a conscious living being that is a wave. You're a frequency. And the purer the food that you put into your body and the more pure water that you put into your body, and if you turn off the television, what that does is it purifies your vibration. It purifies your frequency. A purified frequency is free to vibrate higher. That's all it is. It's scientific. And if you do other things, like spending your time just going out to clubs, doing all kinds of things that are distractions, watching car races on TV, or watching football, or just pick a distraction, that lowers your frequency. Okay, makes it more difficult for you not only to vibrate higher, but your mind is connected to that. So then you don't see the truth, okay? Because your mind is a little bit fogged up. It's like haven't been drinking really heavily, huh?
Right.
The mind gets a little bit foggy. So that's what needs to happen, is people need to free up their mind and frequency.
Yep. Well, here, brother, I just posted a link into your box. I want you to open up this up because this is the crap I want to talk about, because this is some more proof. Anyways, I'll post it on my wall, but I'm going to open it up in a second after I get done posting it on my 4 walls on my Privatis.Me. This is another bait and switch to keep the brain in dead man's land. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Anyways, here, I'm
You want me to look at it?
Yeah, I want you to open it up. We're going to take a look at it together at the same time. Let's do that.
Okay, well, hold on a second, because I got to go to
your Skype.
My Skype.
Right, you don't have to worry about it. You can't see me. I'm here. But I'm going to open this article up. It's called "Economic Slavery for All." While we were distracted with the Confederate flag flap, Congress quietly forfeited our entire economic future via a fast-track trade authority. Can you say TPP? Or right. What is it, TTP? No, Trans-Pacific Partnership. Folks, I've been talking about this crap for years. While everybody's asleep, I've been covering this shit. But let's take a look at this. They just fast-tracked entire economic future of the country, quietly passed so-called fast-track authority, which will allow President Obama to approve the TPP free trade agreement. See, this is another reason. If you don't like what they're doing at the corporation, you can quit. You can do a push away. But people have not been pushed against the wall hard enough, I guess. They haven't experienced enough pain. But I want to read a little bit of this because this is important. I'm going to post this sucker far and wide after we get off the call. It says the TPP, as you may have heard, and I've been following this for 10 years, Bradley. They've been telegraphing this shit for 10 years. It's not like it's new, but since the sheep are asleep, it's sort of like Fukushima, the oil spill down in the Gulf. I mean, when I was down in the Gulf last summer, they still have tar balls rolling up onto the beaches, but the sheep are so dead asleep, they don't even know what a freaking tar ball is. I don't swim. I won't swim in that crap. Anyways, try to tell that to, Correxica is a poison. They had to bury the crime scene by spraying all that oil. Matter of fact, Kevin Costner had a technology with hay and some other simple technologies that would have got all the oil off the top of it. But because it was such a big crime scene, they wanted to bury the crime scene. See, folks, this is what scumbags are us do. And you don't hear them talking about it on the mainstream media. When's the last time you heard about the Gulf with all the oil that's still poisoning the fish and everything else?
Yeah, that's a pretty big problem too, because I've basically quit eating fish. I mean, it don't matter, because you've got the Japan thing, Fukushima over in the Pacific, and then you've got the Gulf oil spill over there. Well, where the heck is a guy going to get a piece of fish that isn't like compromised? Yeah. So I mean, and I love fish, but what are you going to do? No, it's true. And then, as far as the Gulf is concerned, didn't they have a whole bunch of inspectors come down there right after that whole thing happened, and they were dumping clean sand onto the black beaches to cover up all, so the inspectors would see clean sand. I mean, boy, I'll tell you, it just, it never stops boggling the mind how these people are just out to control every perception, Yep.
Anyways, let me get to the second paragraph of this article. Now, the TPP, as you may have heard, like I said, I've been following this for years, outright surrenders U.S. sovereignty, the corporate to the multinational corporations, handing them total global monopolies over labor practices, immigration, big pharma drug pricing, GMO food labeling, criminalization of garden seeds, and much more. Folks, if you've never heard about Codex Alimentarius, it's spelled CODEXALMENTIARUS, something like that. Anyways, look up Codex Alimentarius. That's what's been going on in the UN to control the food supply. See if they can control the food construct. But look at I got to read the rest of this. I'm getting excited. Anyways, and this is all the shit that I already covered. So if you don't want to be a part of this construct, you've got to quit giving your power to it. So, if I'm not buying their medications, I'm not buying their sorry ass food, I'm not eating and I'm not drinking their Kool-Aid, I'm going a different path. That's a free will. But check this out. So from big pharma, drug pricing, GMO food labeling, criminalization of garden seeds, and much more, in all, the TPP hands over control of 80% of the U.S. economy to global monopolists. And the TPP is set up to enable those corporations to engage in virtually unlimited toxic chemical pollution of the masses, medical monopolization, the gutting of labor safety laws, and much more. Plus, did I mention the TPP will displace millions of American works as corporations outsource jobs to foreign workers? Well, hell, they're outsourcing them mostly to the prison industrial complex. They got the lowest, cheapest labor. Folks, if you don't understand what's going on in those prisons, those guys, if they get paid, I think it's 23 cents an hour. But I know, I can hear in the background the stone throwers. Well, they must have done something wrong because they're in there. Folks, do you know how many people are in freaking jail for non-real crimes, especially on the cannabis issue across the planet? I mean, we're legislating a fucking plant. When do you wake up? It's my ass. I don't need your permission. I don't need your consent. But see, this is the problem with the masses. Well, it's not legal here, but it's you know what? If you're going to wait for a permission slip, you get to die for a damn lie. And that's a sad proposition. That hurts my heart, Brad.
Well, yeah, Peter, let's break this down just a little bit. Okay, so for the people that are watching, okay, the reason that they're basically taking control of garden seeds, because they're not GMO, okay? Garden seeds, if you plant a garden, those plants, if you don't eat them, what they do is they produce more seeds, so that every year you will always have another supply of garden seeds to plant a garden. Well, here's the thing. GMOs are sterile. All GMO seeds are sterile, which means that you can plant that seed and it may grow for 1 year, but then you have to go back and buy another set of GMO seeds the next year. Now, if you're not playing the game they want you to play and they decide to cut off your food, but you still had a garden, maybe you could survive. Maybe you could live, okay? Because you've got a garden. But if every seed is GMO, then you might plant a garden 1 year, but then you've got to go buy seeds from them again the next year. What if you don't have a bank account? What if you've been cut off? Okay, this is the kind of control they're taking. Now, David Icke, out of Great Britain, he has a phrase that he uses to describe what the cabal is doing. He calls it the totalitarian tiptoe, where they're basically slowly, ever so slowly, taking away more and more of our rights. Well, I don't know if anybody's been watching over the course of the last year or 18 months, but this is a downright sprint. Okay, there's no more totalitarian tiptoe. There's no more, okay, we're just kind of sort of maybe taking away your rights. If you're not paying attention and you haven't seen the absolute running sprint to the finish line these guys are doing right now, then you're missing something, okay? And I know there's a lot of people out there on the blogosphere saying, well, we're going to be picked up by aliens or ETs soon, so it doesn't matter. Or, you know what, there's going to be massive arrests of the cabal soon, so it doesn't matter. Or we're going to ascend soon, so it doesn't matter. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you certain? Is that true? Do you know for sure? And if it doesn't happen, let's just say maybe that's true, but let's say it's not going to happen for another 5 years or whatever. Well, let me ask you this. What are you guys going to do in the meantime if they start rounding people up? Okay, have you planned for anything? Have you made your commitment to say, well, here's how I'm going to deal with that? Okay, here's the thing. You got to know what's going on around you. Okay, you really need to be aware, which is why you have Privatis.Me, which is why I have my blog and I write articles. And it's not that I'm trying to be abrasive. I'm not trying to be in people's face. All I'm doing is I'm putting out information that I think is need to know. Okay, what they do with that is their own thing. I'm not trying to tell you, here's what you do with it. I'm saying, here, read this. I think you need to know it. Okay, now, what do you think? What are your beliefs and what are your plans based upon this knowledge?
Yeah. What do you mean? On that question, I was reading so busy reading this damn article, and that's just anyways. Let me come back to this.
Let's get back to the TPP.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at this. Political sleight of hand. It was so easy to distract the American people with the flag flap. See, that's all they know how to do is bait and switch. Essentially, America just got sold out by people like Marco Rubio, and it was incredibly easy to pull off, too. First, America was distracted by a contrived, pre-planned mass hysteria outrage event known as the Confederate flag flap. Jeez, hilarious! This literal false flag. Look at that. Yeah, talk about what was that? Anyways,
it's a pun.
Right, it's a pun, right? Yeah, play on words. Anyways, yeah, they're talking about the flag, and now we're talking about the false flag. Anyways, hilariously, this literal false flag controversy doesn't even involve the actual Confederate flag. It involves a battle flag that people mistakenly think is the Confederate flag, who needs historical accuracy when there's hysteria to spread. See, folks, by the way, yeah, that USA flag, the one you love so much, yeah, this flag shit, what a crock. That's a corporate flag. And if you're fucking praying to it, if you're bending to it, if you're bowing to it, you've given over your consent to a corporate flag. Yeah, because it's not operating under the de jure side of the the actual constitutional side of the event. Anyways, right up underneath that, Bradley, I'm just going to cover this and then we'll go on.
Okay.
While Amazon.com was frantically deleting Confederate flag products from its website, and everybody was going back crap and saying over the 1970s comedy series Dukes of Hazzard and its use of a so-called Confederate flag on a hot rod car, Republicans and the president were busy committing outright treason at the highest level, surrendering American sovereignty and economically enslaving all of America's future children. See, folks, if you don't want to do this for you, how about your children? Do you want to do this for your children? I mean, Brother Brad, that's why I'm in the mix, because I'll be damned if I'm going to leave this planet the way I found it.
Right. Peter, but you figure you're going to be here for a while, and there are others who honestly, God bless them, who really honestly think that they're leaving soon. They're either leaving on a ship or they're going to ascend to a whole new dimension, and they're not going to have to fix or take any kind of responsibility for what's actually left here. Okay, so that's where some of the people are at. They're at that point where they say, well, why do I need to get involved? Why do I need to lift a finger? Why do I need to care? That's fear porn. Okay,
Yeah.
All this stuff that the Congress is passing behind our back, talking about that, is fear porn. Now, what we really need to talk about is what the channeled entities are saying. What we really need to talk about is, that we're ascending soon. What we really need to talk about is something that feels really good. Okay? Well, there's a lot of things that feel really good, but after the feel good moment, you still got to come back and address any and all problems that you were ignoring while you were feeling good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of our human responsibility. We got to deal with this stuff. It's almost like here's a good example. Cleaning up your room. You can feel good all you want, but every time you ignore the fact that you got to clean up your room, eventually you're going to have to get around to it. That's the three-dimensional world we live in. Things get messy, and then we got to clean them up. Okay,
Yeah.
Unless every time. You can be one of those people where when something gets dirty, you throw it away. Maybe you don't want to ever wash clothes. You just want to throw them away. You don't want to wash your dishes. You just throw them away. Every time your room gets dirty, you move into a new house. Okay. So for the people who think they're going to leave soon. Okay. But if you're not one of those, then the house you're living in needs to get cleaned up. There's issues here.
Yeah.
And like I said, the first thing that people need to do is realize, A, what's going on, okay, so that they know. B, that they don't consent to that. You have the right to say, no, I don't consent. I don't want that. And then vote with your dollar. Where are you going to spend your money? Are you going to spend your money on products and services and things that actually, like you said, support the control system?
Yep.
Or are you going to spend your dollar only on those things which set other people free? Okay, but here's the thing. This is where it gets tough because it's very personal. We all have been trained to want all of the candy and all of the little knickknacks that the system provides to us. Okay, here, and that's commercialization. Here's what you want. You want a yacht. Here's what you want. You want a Mercedes Benz. Here's what you want, $1 million house in the Hamptons. And you want a second home in the Virgin Islands. Don't you want all that? Of course you do. But in order to have all that, a lot of people have to have almost nothing, because that's the way our financial system works. It's a pyramid,
Yep.
So if you're going to get a lot of money, then other people are going to have very little. Okay. Now, unless we change the financial system,
Yeah, well, let's start there. Let's with the IMF. Since 1913, the whores that came in, and we have a private corporation that's controlling. And here, I'm going to get to the rest of this article. I got to cover this because this will give you clarity.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. This it says. Anyways, in other words, so now while ignorant activists ran around in mass hysteria, thinking they were banishing a symbol of enslavement to the history books, they were actually providing the necessary public distraction for a quiet passage of the TPP's fast track authority. In other words, they played right into the hands of the real slave masters, the globalists, the monopolist corporations, and the fascist government puppets who betray the people at every opportunity. Believe me, these corporations don't care about the skin color of their slave workers. They gladly enslave everyone, including you and me. And if you're stupid enough to allow our own elected representatives to forfeit America's future, which they just did, screw the Confederate flag issue. Folks, all Americans are now property of the multinational monopolistic corporation, and they have turned national governments against their own people. The Confederate flag flap was merely a useful distraction to trick the population, using political sleight of hand to fool everyone about the real agenda being pursued in Washington. America is now officially a nation of slave workers beholden to the multinational corporate construct. How does your silly flag outrage feel now? See,
right.
It's bait and switch. Look over here. Nothing to see here. I mean, and there's 2 videos on this link.
Right.
Folks. Yeah, this is over. Anybody who wants to pick up this link, I'll post it later. But you can go to Natural News, and it's right at the very top. And they got 2 videos. Robert Reich takes on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and then we got another one, Senator Warren, on the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement. So
Peter,
Mm-hmm.
But what is that? Okay, that's a magician's trick. When a magician is on stage, what is he doing? He's bait and switch, sleight of hand.
Yep.
The real action is taking place to the left. So he points to the right. You got a beautiful girl standing there in a skimpy dress, and she's making the audience look at her. The action is going on the other side of the stage. And I've written about that over and over and over again, dozens of articles, and I call them dark magicians.
Yep.
This is who the Illuminati are. And Jay Parker even said that. Let's go back to him. I'm going to post that video again. He said, my mother claimed to be a witch. My father claimed to be a warlock.
Yep.
Who claims that kind of stuff? He was born in the late 50s, and he grew up in Arden, Delaware, and he said, that's what my parents told me. And he said, my mother claims that she can trace her lineage all the way back to like 4,000 or 5,000 BC to the Amalekites. Okay? So, I mean, and he says it may even go farther. All right? So that's the kind of lineage that his mother claimed to have. And she said, we're witches that go all the way back. Well, interesting. Well, witches, warlocks, magicians, what have you. They're Satan worshipers. And these are the people who are in control of the planet right now. Guess what? Okay? So now all of a sudden, people are like, well, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to even look at that. How could that possibly be?
Yep.
You know, who fell asleep at the switch when that happened?
Yep.
You know, well, it's been that way for a long, long time. And it doesn't matter just because you were told as you were growing up it wasn't that way in school, or you were taught in your religion that it wasn't that way, or that your government told you it wasn't that way. Well, guess what? They lied. they didn't tell you the truth. And now all of a sudden, okay, here's what's really going on. And you have these whistleblowers out there, and you have all these people doing videos and saying, please, people, wake up. You know, so this is what we've got to look at. Now, this TPP, this is just the latest version of really trying to consolidate control in the hands of the corporations. Okay, and wasn't it that most of Congress couldn't even read the thing?
Right. We'll read it after. Pass it first and read it later.
Right. It's probably thousands of pages long. I don't know how many pages, but probably thousands. And they're told by their leaders, don't read it because you might object to it. So just don't even read it. Now, what congressman who supposedly represents the American people goes along with that and says, okay, well, I'm being told I'm not supposed to read this, and I'm just being told I should vote yes. You know, I guess we're in Alice in Wonderland now. I mean, we went from the Wizard of Oz to Alice in Wonderland, and the people that this is going to affect, you know what they're doing? They're watching drag racing on television. You know, they're watching American Idol. They're watching Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
You know, just leave me alone and let me watch television. But when their job goes away, or they're making less money, or they can't buy a house, then they wonder why things aren't the way they used to be. Right?
Yep.
So this is what we're dealing with in this TPP thing.
Yeah, here's another article I was just on. Brother, you know, sometimes I gotta actually open the windows to see what's going on my planet. The book burning begins. Movies, books, book covers, and computer games being banished. Can you say control construct calls for taking down the American flag, bulldozing Southern memorials, and removing flags from children's toys and more? I mean, really? Is this really? I mean, while Rome freaking burns, we're worried about this bullshit. And that's all this is, a bullshit. It's contrived. Now you got Apple, forever a corporate pusher of the politically correct agenda, has now banned Civil War games from iTunes because those games display the Confederate flag. Revisionist history is alive and well at Apple. It seems where even factual historical simulations are going to be memory hold under Apple's new dictatorial thought control policies. Yes, even works of digital art are no longer tolerated at Apple. So there's now open talk of recalling all books featuring the Confederate flag on their covers. Oh my God, yeah, but I can't even believe I'm talking this crap.
Well, here's the thing. This is just the beginning, okay? And let's take this for an example, okay? If you can get the public all worked up over an issue, the Confederate flag.
Yes.
And as a result of the public getting worked up, the powers that be can say, well, here's the answer. We're going to recall all books. We're going to outlaw all video games. And we're going to do this, 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 and this. Basically get rid of any kind of freedom around that issue. Now the public is satisfied. But what just happened there? They set a precedent. A precedent was set saying, well, this issue came up. You were all pissed off about it. And you wanted us to burn books and take away video games and to do this, that, and the other thing. Okay, well, now we have an issue. Okay, it's with alternative journalists and their books. It's with alternative media. and their videos.
Oh, it's
Okay.
I know it's places like CCN where we're at right now.
Or,
We're not going along to get along. What the hell's wrong with us?
right. So the next step is to say, well, if the public was willing to support us on the Confederate flag issue, they're going to say, well, that was what you were concerned about. Well, we're concerned about these alternative media people. So why can't we burn their books? Why can't we get rid of their videos? Why can't we ban their websites? It's the same. So if you're willing to support tyranny on the left hand, you got to be willing to support it on the right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is all they're trying to do, in my humble opinion, take it for what it's worth, is set a precedent where they can get people to agree, right? Consent, okay, because they're all worked up about this, to limiting people's freedom.
Yep.
Okay. Now, consent achieved. Now, what other freedoms can we limit and take away?
Yep.
Okay. What other avenues can we go down? And here's the thing. Not in your wildest dreams can you imagine how far they will be willing to take it. And the example is the Patriot Act. There was a lot of senators and a lot of representatives after 9/11 that did vote for the Patriot Act. And they said, well, we've got to protect the country. Years later, there were certain senators and representatives going, how in the world have they taken away so many of our freedoms? And they got into these special closed door meetings, and it was explained to them, well, you voted on this tiny little thing to protect people. And the senators will go, well, that's not what I meant. That was to give you an inch. Well, they took a mile.
Yep.
Okay. And so these senators and these representatives, and it was a few years ago, came out and said, they're interpreting the laws we passed, and they don't mean what we thought they meant. They're going a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles with this stuff, and they're stretching it so far, the 1-inch rubber band is now 1,000 feet long. Yeah. But you consented. You gave up your willingness. Okay, now here's what this Confederate flag issue is going to do. It's going to get people all worked up so that they can limit certain things. They're going to pass a few laws, and then they're going to take those laws and they're going to interpret them in a way you never imagined. Yep. And then it's going to get stretched 1,000 miles long, and soon you won't be able to walk, skip, or jump on the beach because there's a rule against it. You won't be able to swim because there's a rule against it. You won't be able to breathe because there's a rule against it. Well, hey, this is all part of this Confederate flag thing.
Right.
You know?
Well, so I call it the beta test of these are all beta tests. Folks, if you don't understand what a beta test is, what they do is they'll do something, sort of like the Waco thing. That was a beta test. Like the Gulf of Tonkin, that was a beta test. World War I was a beta test. World War II, because it was all done under the guise, hell, the shot shit out in California, the forced compliance now for adults. Folks, if you're not waking up to this, and there's not one good shot on the planet. Matter of fact, since I'm talking about shots, there's this other article. Anyways, I love it. Anyways, autoimmune epidemic in USA skyrockets. We are destroying our gut microbes and wondering what is wrong because they're all eating the GMO shit, bro. But that wasn't the one article I want to talk about. What I want to talk about was what happened in Mexico. That was a beta test. So yeah, I'm trying to give people a parallel, understand what a beta test is. So let me find this one link, and I'm going to talk about this for a second. Yeah, for all those you like tattoos out there too, linked to chronic health problems, dyes, chemicals can cause long-term allergies and infections, warn scientists. You got a lot, brother, I got one tattoo on my ass, and it's all good. Let me see, Monsanto. Oh yeah, Monsanto's airborne pesticides is another article. Drones coming soon. FAA approves unmanned poison spraying helicopters. Dude, you can't make this crap up.
Well, no, but here's the thing. Honestly, like I said, it's a sprint now. We're in a sprint. And if you're not paying attention, and I mean, you're not paying attention every day, you're going to miss this stuff. You're literally going to miss it. Now, like I said, we got people who just don't want to hear it anymore. They're tired. And I got people in my own family who used to follow this stuff, honestly. And they go, well, you know, I don't know. I just don't want to hear it anymore. You know, I'm tired.
Okay. Well, go back to sleep, and we got some shots for you. They're coming right up. Now, I got to talk about this shot shit, bro. I know I said this is going to be a fast ride. Folks, this is all on Natural News. Everything I'm mentioning here, just go pull up Natural News, and you can read it for yourself. But yeah, let's look at this. This is on the shot shit. But I'm going to come back to, I'm going somewhere with this, so you just got to let me get through to here to get to the next step. I'm going to talk about Mexico and how 75% of them children that were inoculated died. You say beta test?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, anyways, but Peter, it was their karma to die.
Oh yeah, the karma. Yeah, there you go.
Karma. It was their karma to die.
Yeah. It was your karma to have your child raped or killed or whatever. I mean,
exactly.
Really, you know, to snap out of it, people. Anyways, online health boards and blogs are exploding with thousands of threads and panicky forums of mostly women who are pleading for help with autoimmune epidemic symptoms like fatigue, joint pain, hair loss, which is caused by these freaking shots. But it may not be what's wrong with them. It's what's wrong with what they're putting in their body over and over again, chemicals. Let's take a really close look at what causes autoimmune disorder. I got to get Dr. Tent on my show. I'm going to get him on here. He talks about this autoimmune. He's got some good videos. Yeah, go look up Dr. Tent on YouTube, folks, and go watch what he's talking about, because he's an alien. So if you are a loved one suffering from vague but debilitating symptoms, it might just boil back to 5 major areas. Eliminate them permanently, and the root problems might just dissipate, revealing that they are not really an epidemic at all, but rather a big, nasty cover-up on the mass media and the mass allopathic white coat world of deceit. Consider this: rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, even lupus are all caused by the same mechanism, autoimmunity. So, do you suffer from allergies, psoriasis, liver disease, or just irritable bowels? Does your child have autism? You might be completely surprised to find out that most of these cases start and end in the gut, where the good bacteria needs to outnumber the bad bacteria 85% to 15% respectively. What on earth would be inverting this ratio? It's time to get to the heart of the matter. First things first, I don't mean to go off on a rant, Brad, but this is the shit that my brothers and sisters got to hear this. Flu shots and vaccines. Let's cover that. Number 1, vaccines are repeat offenders when it comes to ingesting toxins that destroy immunity, especially flu shots that people get yearly. What easier way to annihilate the immune system than injecting embalming fluid, mercury, and aluminum into some muscle tissue, conjuring unnatural reactions of the hormones, central nervous system, and the brain. Vaccines often contain genetically modified bacteria, live viruses, chicken embryo, and aborted fetal proteins. Can you imagine what that does to your good bacteria you need for your digestion and immunity? So more than 290 million Americans get shot in the dark every year. Little do they know they could build natural immunity, foster good gut flora and microbes of coconut oil, spirulina, sprouted tech. See, brother, we talk about the problems, but we always talk about solutions. That's what I love about Natural News. Covers some really nice stuff. Or you could take oregano, garlic, cinnamon, and licorice root for building immunity from colds, sicknesses, and flu. Watch the Ignite the Truth video by Dr. Wakefield explaining how vaccines screw up the gastrointestinal tract. I guess I'm going to be sending that son of a bitch far and wide. That'll be. I got some posting to do tonight. But we talk about now. Okay, the next number 2: soda sugar annihilates gut microbes. Pesticides, Monsanto's. If you're using Roundup and shit, fluoride in conventional food and water supply. Toxic gluten, which is for the most part, is a sticky glue-like mass of wheat head that contains toxic food processing and preserving chemicals that no man, woman, or child should ever consume. It can stay in the digestive and excretive tracts for days, if not weeks, devastating flora and breeding bad bacteria, leading to autoimmune disorder and a common condition that millions of people can't figure out. Brother, you are what you eat. Anyways, now I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to segue into this because I'm going to come back to beta test. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Where was this? It's nice to know that McDonald's is a global profit free fall as people everywhere increasingly reject chemically are waking up. That's good. Let me find this. I just saw the damn link. Yeah, when I'm not trying to find it, I can find it. Let me see. Let me go top. Oh, here we go. Depopulation test run. Here we go, brother. This is what I want to talk about for a second, then we'll get back on the fast track.
Okay.
75% of the children who receive vaccines in Mexican town are now dead or hospitalized. 75%.
I saw that.
Yeah, so despite the insidious attempts of the corporate control whores, U.S. media to censor the stories about deadly side effects of vaccine, the truth keeps surfacing. The latest vaccine tragedy strike has killed 2 babies in La Pimentia, Mexico, and sent 37 more to the hospital with serious reactions to toxic vaccine additives. Tweet this story. It says 14 children are in serious condition, 22 are stable, and 1 is in critical condition. The Chiapas Health Secretariat said in a statement at LatinoFoxNews.com. It says what's especially alarming is that only 52 children were vaccinated in all, meaning that 75% of those receiving the vaccines are now dead or hospitalized. The vaccines were administered by the Mexican Social Security Institute. Yeah, go figure. And by the way, they're part of the TPP. So my brown brothers are getting binded up as well as my northern brothers over in Canada. So folks, you think this is just an American problem? Wake the hell up. It's all of our problems. So when do we wake up, Brad? I mean, this is the shit that makes me absolutely nuts. I mean, it's in your face. Anyways, I just that's a beta test too. Well, look at Gates. Sterilizing these girls in South Africa with his poisonous crap. And the Gardasil, that's another scam shot that poisons. We've lost 600 plus women or girls to the Gardasil shot. One's way too many, brother, but over 600. And the countless others who are still alive, who are suffering through Guillain-Barré syndrome and other terrible things where they're not normal anymore. And it's all because of the friggin' bottom line profits of corporate whores that be. Folks, when are you going to wake up? Anyways, Brad, I'm ranty. I'm getting pissed off.
Okay, take a drink. Or take a break. Take a drink.
All right.
Here's the deal. This goes back to what we talked about last show we did. People are afraid. It's fear. Okay? Taking responsibility for your life, all of a sudden, when you were taught all of your life to believe that the government had your best interest in their mind, the doctors had your best interest at heart, the teachers, the clergy, the police, all of these authority figures. You go back and watch what we talked about last time. Authority figures. Everybody trusts authority figures, but they're taught to do that. So now, when there is counterintuitive information coming out, this new information that these vaccines really aren't good for you, the water isn't good for you, the GMOs aren't good for you, the government isn't telling you the whole truth, the police aren't telling you the whole truth, the clergy isn't telling you the whole truth, people go into shock. Okay? Wait a minute. Well, then who can I trust? They're like, well, and they become immobilized because suddenly, very suddenly, instead of just living your life kind of like on autopilot, where you have to work a certain amount of time to earn your living, but then the rest of the time is kind of like relax, watch TV, go to the game, raise your kids, go to the park. Not a whole lot of decisions to make. Not a whole lot of choices that you have to make because they've already made the choices for you. But if all these choices are suddenly bad, then you've got to use 24 hours of your day, 7 days a week, making new choices and thinking for yourself and reading articles and deciding exactly what you're going to choose. That's called standing up on your own 2 feet, and it's called personal responsibility. That's very scary. And it's a lot of work.
It's a lot. And it's, I like personal responsibility. I like, selecting what I put. Masses.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm thinking of these people who say, well, come on, why aren't they waking up? I'm giving you a reason why it's hard, okay? Because they have not yet seen the need to take every waking moment of their day and now turn it into learning, studying, educating themselves, finding out what's really true and what's really not, okay? And making proper decisions as far as food and drink. And then when it comes to make these decisions, like people don't want vaccines. Well, then Mr. Authority figure comes and says, I don't care what you want, you got to do it anyway. How many people say, well, okay, even though it's bad for me and I know it, you're an authority figure. I can't say no to that.
Well, I can, because what I want to do is I'm going to show them. I'm going to shove in their face www.novaccine.com. People, pay attention to that site. I want everybody to go do a lookup. It's, folks, this is our wake up call. Now, I don't know what else to do to wreck the fucking train ride today, but www.novaccine.com. And over on the right hand side of that link, first of all, they got an 1.5-hour video showing all these mothers who have lost their children to the friggin' shot scam. I mean, it'll break your heart, it'll make you cry.
Yeah. But
anyways, on the right hand side of the page, they list every freaking adverse reaction and what this shit does to the body and exactly what they're putting in it. So for those who are in disbelief, from the show me state, well, I'm going to show you today. www.novaccine.com, and go look at every shot from the MMR to the damn flu vaccine. They all got thimerosal, mercury, and formaldehyde. Those are poisonous adjuncts that actually create a cancer construct because it's compromising your damn immune system.
Right.
Taking the shots.
You know, but here's an interesting thing, Peter. Listen to me. My mother, God bless her, she died of cancer. She got some kind of a really fast operating, I think it was ALS or something. It was leukemia. And she lived a very, very, very easygoing life. Didn't want to wake up, didn't want to hear this information. And I told her as gently as I possibly could, well, why don't, and the doctors were going to, of course, give her chemo and give her all kinds of things that weren't going to make her better. And I said, why don't you try some alternative kind of like, modalities, so that maybe, even vitamin C, for crying out loud, just try something.
Not the synthetic shit, the liposomal seed. Yes, synthetic seed doesn't have any let's clear that up now. Synthetic vitamin C has absolutely no capacity to help the body. So quit buying your bullshit from GNC. Go over to Living Herbal Pharmacy and learn how to make your own liposomal seed, which is the most natural construct. The body can actually absorb 93% of it through the gut, because it's created in a different construct. But the 16-minute video shows how to do it. Yeah, that's called the Living Herbal Pharmacy. So you talked about vitamin C. I had
Okay, no problem. But I'm just making a point here, okay? And it's basically a point about mindset of my mother. And I told her, there's things you can do. And she said, yeah, but the doctor told me this is what is necessary. Why would I not trust him? Think about that now. I know it's funny to you, okay? She goes, but why wouldn't I trust the doctor? I mean, he's there to help, okay? And then I said, yeah, but they're not. Maybe you just get a second opinion, and maybe there's other things you can do to help yourself change your diet, change your lifestyle. She loved to smoke. She overate. There was a lot of things that she did that weren't good for her health. And I suggested making some of these changes. And you know what she finally said? This goes to show her mindset. But then life is too difficult. Why would I want to live if I had to work that hard to know these things? I would just rather die.
And guess what? She did.
She did. But that's the mindset. It's too much work to figure this stuff out. Why should life be so hard? Why should I be the one, me personally, to figure out what's good for me? Aren't they given the responsibility to figure this out? Isn't that the doctor's job, the government's job, the teacher's job? Well, guess what? They're having a whole different agenda than what you think. And their agenda is along the lines of the New World Order, to basically bring in a one world government to bring in rules and regulations to keep the public in line. Okay, it's not about freedom. It's about getting a construct that really controls things very well for the people who think they own it. And yeah, it's work. It's and if you want to live, you're going to have to actually start doing some of this work.
Yep.
Personal responsibility. And that's why I said it's scary. Scary to people. Because now all of a sudden, well, all these people I've trusted all of my life,
Yeah, well, you got lied to on every construct, and that's why at Privatis.Me, if they'll go through the 8-week curriculum, I always show them how they got here. That's Privatis.me, folks. You can start over there, and I give away that information for free, but you got to find out how you got here in order to find out how you get out. And you got to come to the realization that they pretty much blowed smoke up your backside on pretty much everything of the day. That's why I start off on week 1 with Changes on the Horizon Part 2. It's a 200-year, the fastest ride you'll take on the planet. Yeah, folks, go pull that one up on YouTube. Changes on the Horizon Part 2. It'll give you the 200-year history lesson that everybody should get.
Yeah.
The real history lesson.
Well, and here's the thing. Ultimately, just between you and me, Peter, and I'm into this, and I have a blog, and it's really hard for me to watch because sometimes I've got like 10, 15 hours of video lined up in one day.
Yeah.
And there's another 15 hours tomorrow. I mean, it's just the education that people are having to go through is so fast and so huge and so at the last minute. Okay. This is what we've got to deal with now. It didn't, they kept the secret really well for a really long time. Okay. And apparently, it's funny because I guess the Illuminati figures, well, if we dump 10 million pages of information in your lap in the last 3 weeks and you don't read it, then it's your fault. Right. Okay, we gave it to you, but I mean, that's a lawyer's tactic too. I mean, I've seen that before. What the lawyer will do is they'll withhold all the evidence in the case right up until the 3 hours before a decision has to be made. Then they'll dump 1,000 pages in the defense's lap. Yep. And say, here, and what is the defense? Hey, 1,000 pages. What? And they snicker. That's a lawyer's tactic. Well, who are these people? I mean, that we're dealing with. We're dealing with pick an adjective to describe how screwed up these human beings are. Yeah. The ones on the dark side, the ones that work for the Illuminati and the cabal, the ones that, they want to worship Satan, and there's a lot of them out there, honestly. So yeah, they're pretty screwed up, and that's a tactic. We'll keep everything secret right to the last minute. Then we'll show you at the last minute, and then you have to unconsent to 1,000 pages all at once.
Yeah.
So it's not easy.
Right. Well, they overwhelm. Anyways, check this out. I'm going to get back to this shot shit because this is a really important topic for me because I've been covering this for the last 3 years. I always find I know who Sally McGordy is. I've done some shows with her. Here. Okay, folks. Here's a movie everybody needs to go pull up on YouTube. It's called Vaccinations, Weapons of Mass Destruction. Go pull that up on YouTube. I did a show with Sister Dr. Rebecca Carley. She blew the whistle. They went after her child. They, that's what they do to marginalize people. But anyways, if you want the real truth, like they say, you can't handle the truth. Well, it's the shots. I mean, it's just check this out, brother. I got to go here. IMSS, which is what does that stand for? Oh yeah, the International Mexican Social Security Institute. Anyways, just recently, in fact, the UK government agreed to pay $90 million to victims of the swine flu vaccine, which is another scam from the 70s. I know I was there. I never got the shot. The vaccine caused permanent brain damage to over 800 children across Europe. The truth is that vaccines regularly harm and even kill innocent children most likely because of the toxic chemical adjuvants and preservatives they still contain. Matter of fact, there was a case where a child was given 13 shots and they incinerated the body, so there's no proof of the crime scene because that child died from them 13 shots. But they incinerated the body before the report could come in. Anyways, yeah, that's what they're doing now. So, as the CDC openly admits, though, vaccines are still intentionally formulated with mercury, aluminum, MSG, and formaldehyde. Some vaccines even use the derived aborted human fetal tissue. Last year, a CDC scientist blew the whistle on CDC committing scientific fraud to cover up the links between vaccines and autism in young African-American males. Now, let's check this out. If anybody goes to www.novaccine.com and pulls up MMR, the measles, mumps, rubella shot, it says right in the pamphlet, may cause autism. It says right on there. So, folks, I'm not making this stuff up. So, hey, go look for yourself. Anyways, test run for depopulation via vaccines. So this is why I'm getting to where the meat and potatoes I want to cover. As globalists now fully realize vaccines are by far the best way to cull the human population because most people can be tricked into lining up and asking for them. Thus, there's no need to resort to all the difficulties used by the Nazis to commit genocide in World War II, involving complex logistics of railroad cars, gas chambers, construction of mass graves, prisoner tracking via IBM computing technology, and so on. Yes, Nazi genocide and prisoner tracking was powered by early IBM computers. See IBM and the Holocaust, a strategic alliance between Nazi Germany and America's most powerful. I'm learning some new crap here today, bro. So as the vaccine industry has now come to realize it's so much easier to kill people when they voluntarily comply, which puts the liability on them with the injections.
Hence, well, they're consenting. They're asking for it.
Yep.
Peter, let me ask you something. Do you remember the day when only a nurse at a doctor's office could give a shot or a vaccine?
Yep.
Well, now you can go to the grocery store and get a vaccine. You can go to the drugstore and they have vaccines. I just drove by a drugstore and there's a sign out front, like on a marquee, and it said, "Have you had all your vaccinations yet? Come in, come one, come all, get more vaccines."
Yes.
I mean, it's like a McDonald's drive-through, okay?
Let's cover that. Matter of fact, yeah, because when I went to Sam's Club a couple of years ago, there was a girl set up with her booth and she was giving flu shots. And I asked her if she understood what was in those shots. She said she didn't. I said, "I didn't think you did." I said, "But do you know what to do when somebody goes into anaphylactic shock?" And she looked at me like a deer in headlights. I said, "You don't even know what the hell an anaphylactic shock is, do you?" I said, "That's when the body has an adverse reaction and it goes to shutdown mode. And if you don't have a damn cardiac needle on hand and a CPR card, you're that individual on the ground is probably not going home. He's going to the boneyard." But I mean, that's the insane part. When I was in the Navy, dude, I had to give it under those conditions. I had a shot clinic. I ran a shot clinic. I was actually in the game on a whole different level. Didn't know what I know now. But anyways, we have a CPR card, the cardiac needle, the epinephrine, whatever we need. So because there's always going to be that 1 in a million that has an adverse reaction. I'm willing to bet there's been some adverse reactions in some of these drug stores that are giving these hodgepodge of shots across the country. And I bet when I came across East Coast to West Coast, I couldn't believe all the pharmacies, all the shots. Here, get the swine flu, get this, get that. I mean, brother, it's like a party time. But the whole point is this: you got people giving shots that aren't even authorized. They don't even know how to aspirate. They don't even know how to put it in right. I mean, so it's a sad state of affairs, and it's come. But look at the programming. Well, hell, even down the store here locally, it's a Safeway. They got their little their shit shots sign out there. Come and get your shot. Well, it's nuts, folks.
Well, and that's the whole point. It's like things are changing. Things are heating up. Things are going faster. They're moving quicker toward new world order. Now, why? Let me ask you. This is a rhetorical question. Why haven't more people woken up? Well, over the last 4 years, or over the last 5 years or 6 years, there's been a whole lot of people who have kind of been on the fence about this, who kind of know, who were distracted by this idea that, well, we're all leaving. We're going to ascend.
Yeah, right.
You know, we're you know, ETs are going to land tomorrow, and they're going to take care of it for us. It's the savior meme. Or you know, the earth is going to split into two, and the good people are going to go one way and the other people are going to go the other way. And the Christians, God, you know, they know a lot of this stuff, but of course there's going to be a rapture coming soon, because we're in
right. Yeah. Shit.
the people who know enough to know this is wrong have been distracted with ideas that say, don't worry about it. Don't worry, because it won't matter in a few months or a few years. It's all going to be taken care of. So they did nothing. I call it sitting on your hands. Okay? Sitting on your hands and saying, okay, well, I was told by an authority figure, someone I trust, and that authority figure can be a channeled entity, or it can be a master, or anybody that you believe is telling you the truth, just like the government.
Yep.
And they're telling you not to worry. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. Okay? So what happens? Nobody is they're not sending out links to their friends. They're not talking to their friends about this because, well, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, guess where we're at? We're at the 11th hour and 55 minutes, and the clock is ticking pretty damn fast now. Okay? And people are starting to wonder, well, you know, I thought we were going to be out of here by now. I thought we were going to ascend. I thought, you know, hey, this doesn't look good. Well, you know, all of a sudden, you know, the realization sets in that maybe I'm going to have to deal with this. And maybe I need to do something. Actual physical doing something, you know, and that's a tough pill to swallow at the last minute, you know, that they're going to have to actually take action. And then the easiest thing, and I'll give you from my heart to yours, the easiest thing to do is I don't consent to that. Take your power, at least on that higher level, and say, I don't consent. I am a living, breathing human being. I have free will, and my free will says whatever you want to do to me or to my brothers and sisters, I refuse to consent to. I remove my permission, and at least that, because that puts the onus on their side now. They've got to prove that you consented, or even on the other side, even after the game is over, they can be held accountable. And they don't want that. They don't want to be held accountable for what they're doing here. It's easier if you consent. It's easier if you ask for the shot, if you give permission for it. That's why these people are magicians. That's why they're playing the magic trick. They're trying to trick you into doing all this stuff. Right?
Yep.
Okay. So don't consent.
No.
Remove the consent.
Anyways, I didn't mean to go on a rant, but yeah, there's another article. Yeah, I mean, Congress sneaks approval vote on the fast track TPA to eliminate national sovereignty on issues of food, GMOs, pesticides, and more. See, now your voice really, you have no voice. If you're sitting at the corporate construct buffet table, you have no voice.
Yeah.
And those that think they're going to fix the system from, you can't fix the system with the same way that it was broke, or you know what I'm saying? You've got to come outside this construct, and that's the only way we're going to fix it, because you can't fix it from within, because it's totally off the hook.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's a good point, and I'm gonna say that again. Yeah, I don't know who originally said that, but you can't fix a problem with the same mindset or the level of thinking that caused the problem. Okay, I don't know how many, and I'm just going to give you an example, because I talk to an awful lot of people, Peter, and they all say the same thing. Well, you know, if we could just get rid of the political party in office right now, everything would be okay. Whether it's you don't like Republicans or you don't like Democrats, if we just switch the political party, then we can start making progress. And it don't matter if it's this country or if it's in the UK or if it's in Ireland or France or Germany, we'll just get rid of the opposing political party, right? No, they all work for the same people. Getting rid of one political party in lieu of another is not going to fix it, okay? These people all work for the system, okay? So it's not a matter of just switching political persuasion, okay? It's a matter of actually understanding what the root of the problem is, which is why we do these shows, which is why you have your place and all the portals that you got over there, which is why I have my blog and I write, okay? And people can come over there and read. I get a modicum of foot traffic over on my blog, but it's not really high. And I wonder to myself, how many people actually send out links to these articles to everyone they know and say, you got to read this. I mean, is it important enough for people to start sharing this information far and wide? Or do they read it and go, well, that's an interesting article, but we got lots of time. And I really don't believe we're running short on time anyway. Nothing's going to happen. We're all going to ascend. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know, bro.
Well, you can only do what you can do. Yeah,
here's another article I just found. I'm telling you, brother, I haven't been over to Natural News in a while, but this is interesting. The 21 curious questions we're never allowed to ask about vaccines. I ask about everything, brother. I'm not asking for permission. Like I say, if they go to www.novaccine.com, watch that hour-and-a-half movie, they'll never get a shot again. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
But here, let me cover this to you. I'm going to take I'm going to cover a couple of these. Question 1: if measles vaccines confer measles immunity, then why do already vaccinated children have anything to fear from a measles outbreak? Question 2: if vaccines work so well, then why did Merck virologists file a false claims act with the U.S. government describing the astonishing scientific fraud of how Merck faked its vaccine results to trick the FDA? Folks, this is all over at Natural News. You can go do a lookup for it yourself. I'll probably post this after the fact. Anyways, question 3: if vaccines don't have any links to autism, then why did a top CDC scientist openly confess to the CDC committing scientific fraud by selectively omitting clinical trial data after the fact in order to obscure an existing link between vaccines and autism? You say hide the sausage? Anyways, his exact statement published on the website of his legal counsel was William Thompson. He's a senior scientist with CDC, and he says he worked there since 1998. And I regret that my co-authors and I omitted statistically significant information in our 2004 article published in the Journal of Pediatrics. The omitted data suggested that the African-American males who received the MMR vaccine before age 36 months were at increased risk for autism. Decisions were made regarding which findings to report after the data was collected, and I believe that the final study protocol was not followed. Anyways, you gotta love it. Yeah, it's showing the box. I'm looking at the influenza virus box and showing thimerosal, mercury, all the crap I've been talking about for those who are from the show me state. Let's go to question 5. I gotta cover this. If vaccines are so incredibly safe, then why does the vaccine industry need absolute legal immunity from all harm caused by its products?
Yep.
Hey, if it's really perfectly safe, then hey, you don't have to worry about liability. But when you give permission and consent, you get the liability. Mm-hmm. But here's question 6: if vaccines work so well to prevent disease, then why do some vaccines, like the chickenpox vaccine, openly admit they can cause the spread of chickenpox? It's right on the box. I'm reading it. I'm looking at it right now. Let's see. What should you or your child avoid when getting Veravax? Do not take aspirin or aspirin-containing products for 6 weeks after getting Veravax. It is rare but possible that once you've had the vaccine, you could spread the chickenpox virus to others. Well, that's reassuring. Anyways, do you see the comedy of errors on purpose?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not a comedy of errors on purpose. What it is it's just misdirection again. There is a goal. There is an agenda. They want people to have these vaccines because they damage your DNA. Okay.
Yep.
The idea behind this, and I've written about this too, is that supposedly, and let's just take this for what it's worth, but they say that this is a possibility, is we are coming into an area of space that is vibrating at a much higher frequency. There was a long time ago, historically, the DNA of the average human being was damaged in such a way that it was disconnected. This area of space that our solar system is traveling in is supposed to actually be repairing our DNA, which makes an average human being far more telepathic, far more psychic, far more reconnected to the true source of who they are. Well, why would they want that? They don't. So, in order to make certain that human beings continue to be complicit and compliant slaves, they need to re-damage your DNA. And the only way they can do that is to get shots into you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is part of the agenda. It's to basically control humans on a DNA level. And the reason they would want to do that is, and too many people do not realize the connection between your own DNA and your own potential ability to be a better human being. Okay? In other words, what you are is not etched in stone, especially if this energy that is coming into our solar system repairs DNA.
Right.
You could become a far more intelligent and far more potent human being. Well, they don't want that. Okay.
No.
But so vaccines is the way that they've come up with in order to do that. And this is the story behind the story. Why they're adamant that everyone has to get a shot, even the adults. Because isn't it in California now that they said, oh, even the adults got to get the shot?
And they did this all under the cloak of darkness about 3 weeks ago, and that's what I talked about. But here, hey, brother, while we're on this topic, I was just posting to Sister Shelley, Dr. Shelley. I've done some shows with her over at All Net Radio. Mysterious death. Body of doctor who linked vaccines to autism found dead floating in river.
Well, we can't have that now, can we? He was telling too much of the truth.
That's right. Dr. Jeff Bradstreet was actually, he had a soul. He had a conscience and told the truth, and they disappeared him.
Yeah. Well, anyone who tells the truth and figures, you know what, hey, I value my human brothers and sisters, is, well, they're a criminal. You're telling the truth, you know. And yeah. you know why you're a criminal, Peter? Because guess what? You're taking profit away from the corporations.
Oh yes, I know a doctor that was actually helping people's pets. He was going around to all these veterinarians and actually changing them up to the construct of cannabis, different adjuncts to heal the animal, from rheumatoid arthritis or whatever, because it does fix it. Anyways, he was getting to the way of too many of the prophets, and he ended up dead.
Well, here's the thing. So I'm not recommending to people to take to go out and take drastic action, like this, because we don't want people dropping everywhere. But what we do want is people the least you can do is start sending links to everyone you know, and really start spreading the information all over the planet, because even if you've got family members who don't want to hear it, send them a link anyway. Get out and paste and copy articles, and then and say, I don't consent to this. What do you think? And get your brothers and sisters and family involved, because ultimately this is where it's all going. Those are easy actions to take that don't involve danger.
Oh, I know. Well, when I used to do my blog talk shows, I'd post links in real time, and I tell everybody that was listening, please copy and paste and share this, because I'm not in the same nucleus that you're at. I can only post so much shit. I don't know everybody else's circle of influence.
No, but that's the thing, is we have to start thinking. We have to start thinking like the men and women around us, our brothers and sisters, matter. You know,
Yes.
it's not just about us. It's not just about me. It's not just about you. It's about everybody. And it's about waking everybody up and sending the information out to those people who, you know, haven't heard it yet. You know?
Yeah.
So, and then that's the only way that we're strong, because together with a
United
lot
we
of us.
stand, divided we fall. I've been saying
Yeah.
that for years.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the truth.
Well, anyways, yeah, I don't know, brother.
Are you having trouble?
No, I just get a little disgusted with the whole the denial in the mind, like that nurse I talked to coming across on a train ride from California. She'll do everything to protect and hold tight to her false construct because it would affect the jeopardy of her damn job. So she sold her friggin' soul for lucre too.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's it too. How many people even know that some of the stuff they're doing really isn't ethical, and maybe it's not moral, but look, I need a paycheck. And they're willing to overlook other people's health and other people's happiness and other people's life and death because, well, yeah, but I got to eat. So you're willing to do that in order to get it.
I'm willing to kill. I'm willing to cause bodily harm to my brothers and sisters because I got to eat. Now, how does that work?
Well, you know what? There's a lot more people that are doing that than you think. You know, and what about let's go to the military side of things, and you should know about this because you.
Oh, I do.
What about all these non-disclosure agreements that they have to sign when these people know for a certain fact that there is all kinds of things going on behind the scenes that people really need to know about? I mean, you know, criminal things, you know, the things that are being done to the planet, you know, technology that's being used on people that shouldn't be used. They all know. Then they go home and they basically look at it like this. Well, I signed a non-disclosure agreement, you know, so if all these people are affected by this, like, there's nothing I can do about it. Really, there's nothing you can do. Okay, your hands are tied, even though you've got vital information that human beings need, okay, in order to survive and live a happy and live a healthy life. Okay, well, so it's not the Illuminati then who is enslaving the entire planet, is it? You know who's doing it? All the people who don't want to tell what's going on. And there's millions and millions and millions of them right in this one country, not to mention every other country in the world. All these people who aren't telling what they know.
Right.
Okay? So there you are. There's where we're at. It's the mindset. It's me. I got to protect me. I don't care about you. I got to protect me. You know? And you know what that's called? Divide and conquer.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's a military tactic that is ancient. It's an ancient tactic. It's been used on humanity from God only knows how long ago. Okay? Divide and conquer. If we can get the people divided amongst themselves so that one doesn't care about the next one, we win.
Right, okay? And that's what's happened because the apathy across the planet, everybody's waiting for somebody else to step up and do it for them.
Thank you.
That's the definition of a good slave. Well, no, a real good slave is one that doesn't even know he's a slave.
No, but and how many can honestly say they've never held that attitude? Well, yeah, I know all this stuff, but I'm not gonna take the chance to say it. I'm not gonna say anything because I want to make sure I survive. Okay, you've just separated yourself from the rest of the people. Now you're divided. Okay, you're divided from the whole. So, all right. And then other people do that, and other people do that, and other people do that. And pretty soon we have travesties and tyranny and all kinds of things going on in humanity. Well, just take a look. Take a look at what's going on out in the news world. Take a look what the blogosphere is telling you. Take a look at what the music industry is telling you. Just watch the wars. Oh, but people are going to say, well, I have no responsibility for that. I didn't do that. Well, you didn't, huh? What do you know that you weren't telling that people should have known 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that could have put a stop to this then?
Yep.
You're not responsible. See, well, we're living in a day and age in the 21st century. All of this is a result of what everybody did 10 years ago and didn't take the time to fix. That's what it is.
Yep. Well, everything's, but in a lot of cases, a lot of things are compartmentalized. I've covered this over the last 3 years. I mean, like the court systems, the clerk and the judge and the DAs only know so much until they come up in certain ranks. The judges only know so much, but so they create plausible deniability in scenarios because everybody doesn't know all the parts of the puzzle. If they did, they wouldn't do the dirty deed.
Thank you. I agree. You're right. But guess what? There are people that know some of the pieces. So give your piece. Okay? Maybe you don't know 90% of the puzzle, but you got 10%. Give that 10% over to the next guy. He'll give 10% that he knows. Now there's 20% exposed. They'll give that 20% over to the next guy, and they'll know. Then the whole thing gets done. Hey, I got a great example for you. When I was young, because I was schooled in accounting, and before I started in my carpentry and construction outfit, I was actually going to be an accountant. Well, there's something that I quit real fast because I knew it was all crazy and extremely criminal.
The gap and the so-called bullshit gap principles and all that. My sister-in-law is a CPA, so I know a little bit.
Right. Long story short, I was in New York City, got hired to do an audit. Okay, when I was still very young, and I'm talking 20. At a life insurance company. I won't name the name of the life insurance company. Guess what they had done? Internally in their own books, they had misplaced $10 million. Well, this was like 1980, okay? And or around that time, maybe 1985, something like that. But anyway, they had misplaced $10 million in their books. So they hired an outside auditing group to come in before the bank examiners came in. And they said, we got to find this 10 million. It's lost in the books. I spent 3 months sitting at a desk poring over bank statements and doing all kinds of things with a group of 40 other men.
Wow.
We found the 10 million. So now we have to come up with a report. Why did you lose $10 million? Of course, back in those days, that was a lot of money. Now it could be 10 billion that they lost. It would be about the same amount. So here's what happened. They had an accounting group of young 25 to 30 something girls, all on one floor, whose job it was to balance the bank statement. That bank statement hadn't been balanced properly in 18 months.
Wow.
Now, in a life insurance company, when they get a bank statement, and back then it was a computer printout that was that thick. I mean, it was huge, thousands and thousands and thousands of things in there that have to be balanced, right? Well, one girl would have to balance a certain part, then she would forward it to the next girl. That girl would balance a certain part, and then she would forward it to the next girl.
Like a relay race, like a relay race.
All the way through that one accounting section. Well, if girl A didn't like who girl B was dating, she wouldn't hand her work forward. She said, I'm going to screw her, and I'm going to bypass her. I'm going to go to girl C, so she'll get in trouble. Girl D didn't like the color of hair that girl F had and the way she did her nails. She would bypass. So you had a whole bunch of these people, these so-called bookkeepers inside this life insurance company that weren't talking to each other. The bank statement didn't get balanced for 18 months. So they lost $10 million in the books. So what was the report that we basically said is fire all these girls, hire people that are willing to talk to each other, and create a what's the word I'm looking for? Create a protocol that says if girl A doesn't, or guy A doesn't give their work forward to the next person, the whole thing stops and it kicks up to the highest person and somebody's heads roll. Hey, we have to give our puzzle piece to the next person. Otherwise, nothing gets done. Okay? We are at the point we are in the world right now because we got a whole lot of people sitting on information that they're not passing forward. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my experience, and that was a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And this life insurance company was really scared because what they didn't want was a bank examiner to come in and find out that they hadn't balanced their bank statement for 18 months and that they had lost $10 million. It was just ridiculous. But we found it all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my little rant about keeping secrets.
Yep. Anyways, well, yeah, brothers, it's always about secrets, isn't it? See,
Yeah.
if you had nothing to hide, and isn't that ironic? They say if you have nothing to hide, they're talking about the masses. Well, gee.
What about the corporations? Don't they have something to hide?
No, yes. Well, they do, but yet they're spying on you through your TV, your telephone, all these other constructs that most people are totally unaware of. They can see you through your high definition TV, and they can watch you. Like I talk about this, the telephone, they can turn on the chip even if you have the phone in the house and you shut it off. If you got to sit it on the counter, they can activate the chip and listen to your conversation if they so choose.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that there's this technology. And like I say, when you're asleep, it's really easy to have a false sense of security about your world around you. But they're watching your every keystroke. They're watching everything, which I don't give a shit anymore, brother. I got it. And it's not about having something to hide. It's about I just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it disgusts the crap out of me because where's my privacy?
Yeah. Well, no, I totally get that. But here's the deal. We wouldn't even be in the situation we're in. Like I said, it goes back to collective. We live in a collective reality. Okay. Everything that happens here is basically being created by all of us together. And I'm not talking about a collective where we all think exactly the same thoughts, like the Borg. That's not what I'm talking about. What you see happening as like the current societal norms is something that we all have to basically agree on together. Okay. And if not, then something else gets created. But the point is most people are just taking what's being given to us as reality, as our societal norms. And they're not asking themselves, well, is this what I really want? Do I really believe that this is necessary? And then this is how you get all kinds of crazy things going on that are ridiculous because, we can't even agree on what kind of societal norms we want. Here, do you want an example of what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Okay. This was interesting to me is like, you got a plane going from United States to France. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but table wine in France is considered a beverage. It's like soda pop. So if you're 7 years old, you can have table wine. They don't have laws against that in France. Well, If you're on a plane and you've got a 7-year-old kid, okay, and you're going to France, it's legal for that 7-year-old to have table wine. Now, here's the thing. Where does the legality start? The minute you get 3 miles out of the United States in international waters, any 7-year-old going to France can order table wine because it's legal, because the destination of that plane is France. But On the converse side, if you're leaving France and you're a French kid and you're used to drinking table wine, now you're 3 miles outside the territorial waters of France, okay? Because the destination is the United States of America and it's illegal, that kid, even though he's used to it, cannot have wine.
Right.
Okay. So, but here's the thing. The law is different, even though, you know, it's two whole different countries, and it's well, here you pass this imaginary line in the dirt, and now everything changes.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but if you break that rule, now we can take repercussion and have a reaction against you because you didn't follow that rule. Now, here, why can't we all just agree that whatever it is we're going to agree on, that's the way it is for everybody? Oh, well, no, we can't do that. You know, we got to have customs. We got to have rules and regulations for different societies and cultures. Yeah, we're in a mess.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just one example of stupidity.
Oh, I know. There's no uniformity. There's no continuity of flow. Every state plays a different game, creates new rules. Banana eating on Tuesday. That's why I say it's time to get off this damn crazy train. Screw the rules. You know what? Just do no harm. Anyways, I think we got about a couple minutes left. We're in the final flight pattern here.
We're in the final flight pattern, getting ready to come in and land.
Yes, we're to land at Grand Junction International. Anyways, folks, we covered a boatload of ground. Share, if you like what we're doing, share the video, share CCN, share what we do. Because see, folks, if you don't start sharing, you're not caring. And if you're not caring, guess what? This is going to meet you on your doorstep. This shit that's going down here in USA Inc. and even for my other foreign countries, look what's going on in Mexico. I was talking about the shots. They beta tested them children down there. You know, we're all in this together, folks.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. That's really what it boils down to. Is we are all in this together. Okay, we need to start caring about each other, caring about other people as if they really meant something to us. And when one person is suffering and struggling, we're all suffering and struggling. And if we can lend a helping hand, we need to do that. We need to lend a helping hand. Whatever it is, whatever it takes, because if we stick together, we can beat this, okay? Yeah. But separated, if we're all just hunkering down on our own, you know, we don't care about the other people, we're not gonna make it. And that's just the message right there. Yep. And stop consenting to bad ethics and bad morals, you know? Just say, look, I don't care if you're giving me a paycheck to do that. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. You know, find someone else.
Well, I'm gonna keep it simple. If you don't share, it means you don't care. If this is in your face and you see it with the attaching links and stuff like that, and you don't share it, and it's important for everybody to hear this, then you become culpable to the same apathetic attitude on the planet. And so this is how you can help. Everybody can do their little part. Copy and paste these links, this information. Folks, it's the wake-up call. Like I say, when they come after you, what are you going to do?
Yeah, who's going to help you out?
There you go, because you didn't unite with your other. See, there's strength in numbers, and Scumbags are Us Club. They're all in numbers, and they know, and they're using it to their advantage.
Start making friends with your neighbors, you know, and get off the television, get off the video, get off your phone.
How about get off your ass?
Yeah. And just, you know, really make friends with people and tell them how much you care about them, because these are the people that are going to help you in the end, you know. And, you know, go to my blog, which is bradleyloves.wordpress.com. I usually have at least 1 or 2 articles that I write every day, you know, basically looking into a different way of looking at things. You know, I post articles. You've got Privatis.me, so.
Yep, Privatis.me. That's a good starting point for everybody. Everybody on the planet needs to go through that portal, because I think I'm the only one on the planet that actually broke it down, how we got here and how to get the hell out. And it's all about mind, body, spirit. So I've created the path to get out. Okay, but you got to start on the path in order to get out and find out how you got here before you can get out.
Right. Right. And here's one more thing I just wanted to say. I know that my financial situation is not all that great. So I have a deal set up where you can send me some love donations. Yep. And I know Peter would appreciate that too. He has his blog site or website set up so that there are certain things you need to pay for. But that's how he makes his living, because he does this every day.
Right, and it's donations. Anybody can do a donation. If you like what I shared on the free medical constructs, the books, the informations, yeah, feel free to tab on the donate button. But anyways, I know our time is up. Hey, folks, we love you. We really do love you, and that's why we're doing what we're doing here. Brother Brad, I love you. I thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Peter, so much. I really appreciate it. Okay.
All right,
bye, everybody.
We're good. Thank you, Biggie.
If you really had to make a difference on a large scale with minimal resources, how would you go about it? Have you ever dared to dream of doing that which seems impossible? On a planet steeped with corruption and destruction, the question beckons, how do we change it? Media has a far-reaching impact on people and has been used to manipulate humanity into our current destructive patterns. In order to affect people into moving into constructive patterns of behavior, we need to construct a new paradigm of media. Conscious Consumer Network has been created with the explicit intention of giving the amazing truth-seeking, solutions-orientated, alternative media a place to fully realize their true potential with a cutting-edge, high-tech professional media platform. In turn, some of the greatest freedom-seeking hearts and souls of our time have realized the true potential of what has been created and have come together to provide their insight and inspiration on CCN. Conscious Consumer Network has become a unique, interactive information and educational network which provides a free-to-view, live-stream, ultra-high-definition channel to the world and features 25 live shows a week and growing with the addition of multiple language broadcasts. CCN has features comparable with mainstream media, such as being able to pause and rewind broadcasts whilst being live-streamed. Catch up on missed or previous broadcasts, now available from CCN high-definition downloads. You can now purchase a high-definition download of your favorite CCN show from ethymarket.com. Support free and independent media by becoming a monthly pledger. This can be done with a monthly pledge of €10, which will allow you unlimited access to CCN's high-definition downloads, which hosts a back catalogue of over 250 shows which have been aired since the launch of CCN on the 1st of January 2015. In order to keep CCN free of corporate sponsorship and advertising, CCN has launched the Pledge 300 campaign. This is a realistic goal with the hopes of securing a minimum of 300 people who will each pledge €10 a month. With this number, we can continue to grow and operate and potentially expand into a second foreign language channel. Help keep alternative media in the hands of the people. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.